The grand conclave chamber of the Krill Dominion hummed with controlled anxiety. Plasma conduits pulsed with a cool blue light, casting long, skeletal shadows across the chitinous faces of the Krill highborn. The air, thick with the scent of ozone and metabolized fear, hung heavy as the Grand Artificer Xyler adjusted his multifaceted eyes, focusing on the holographic projection dominating the chamber's center. It displayed a star system, unremarkable in its arrangement of gas giants and asteroid belts, yet the source of their collective unease. A system located, disturbingly, at the very edge of the known galaxy. "The sensor readings are consistent," Xyler intoned, his voice a dry rasp amplified by the chamber's acoustics. "The vessels are of unknown design, their energy signatures unlike anything we have encountered. Their origin point, as you can see, is designated Sol." Grand Strategist Ryla hissed softly, her mandibles clicking in agitation. "Unknown? How can an entire civilization remain unknown after millennia of galactic survey? Our probes have mapped every quadrant, every nebula, every dust cloud. What have they been hiding?" The High Chancellor, a being of immense age and psychic power, shifted on his obsidian throne. His voice, when it came, resonated with the weight of centuries. "Hiding is not necessarily the correct term, Ryla. Perhaps overlooked, or perhaps intentionally ignored." A murmur rippled through the conclave. Ignored? The very notion was an affront to their meticulous, galaxy-spanning bureaucracy. The Krill Dominion, with its countless subject races and intricate web of control, did not ignore anything. "The species inhabiting Sol," Xyler continued, overriding the rising tide of dissent, "designate themselves as humans. Their technology, it is difficult to quantify. Primitive in some aspects, yet possessing elements of unconventional engineering. They utilize energy sources we deemed obsolete centuries ago, yet achieve propulsion speeds that rival our own." "Inconsistent," Ryla repeated, her tone sharper. "It defies logical assessment. A species cannot be both primitive and advanced. There must be a deception at play." The High Chancellor raised a clawed hand, silencing her. "Consider the possibilities, strategist. Perhaps they possess a unique adaptation, a singular advantage that allows them to circumvent established technological paradigms." He paused, his gaze sweeping across the assembled Krill. "Or perhaps we have underestimated them." That single word hung in the air, a chilling premonition. The Krill Dominion had risen to galactic dominance through strategic calculation, through the precise assessment of threat levels and the ruthless exploitation of weakness. Underestimation was a luxury they could not afford. Across the vast gulf of interstellar space, aboard the vessel designated UNS Icarus, Captain Eva Rostova stared at the sensor readings with a similar, though far more controlled, intensity. The Krill Dominion, a species she had only encountered in historical archives, relegated to the status of galactic boogeyman. And now here they were on the fringes of human space, their sensor nets probing, their intentions opaque. "Report," she commanded, her voice calm despite the knot of anxiety tightening in her stomach. "Multiple contacts, Captain," Lieutenant Commander Jammel reported from his station. "Bearing 270 Mark 115, energy signatures consistent with Krill Dominion warship classifications. Their holding position, maintaining a wide berth." Eva nodded slowly. The Krill, why now? After decades of quiet expansion, of carefully cultivating their own corner of the galaxy, the sleeping giant had finally stirred. "Analysis of their transmissions. Encrypted, Captain, utilizing a complex, multi-layered algorithm. Our decryption protocols are running, but it'll take time." Time, the one resource they had the least of. "Prepare a standard diplomatic greeting," Eva ordered. "Open a channel. Let's see if we can ascertain their intentions." She watched as the Icarus turned, presenting its broadside to the Krill vessels. A gesture of defiance, perhaps, or perhaps simply a clear declaration of presence. They were not hiding. They were here, and they were ready. Back in the Grand Conclave chamber, the High Chancellor watched the human vessel maneuver on the holographic projection. A collective intake of breath echoed through the chamber as the Icarus broadcast its signal. "The decryption is proceeding," Xyler announced, his multifaceted eyes flickering rapidly. "The algorithm is unusual. It's based on principles of quantum entanglement, yet remarkably crude, as if they understand the underlying theory but lack the processing power to fully utilize it." "Speak plainly, Artificer," Ryla snapped. "What is the message?" Xyler paused, his mandibles clicking softly. It is a greeting, a declaration of peaceful intent. They identify themselves as the United Nations Space Command and request clarification of our presence in their vicinity. Peaceful intent. The words felt hollow, meaningless, coming from a species so shrouded in mystery. Were they truly naive enough to believe in peaceful negotiation? Or was this merely a prelude to something else, something far more sinister? The High Chancellor considered the possibilities. The humans were an enigma, a variable in the galactic equation that defied prediction. Their history, pieced together from fragmented sensor data and intercepted transmissions, was a tapestry of conflict and innovation, of brutal self-destruction and breathtaking achievement. They had clawed their way from the brink of annihilation, mastering technologies that should have been beyond their grasp. And now they stood at the edge of the galaxy, a silent challenge to the established order. "Respond," the High Chancellor commanded, his voice resonating with ancient authority. "Acknowledge their greeting, inform them that we are here on a mission of exploration, and express our curiosity about their unconventional methods." He watched as the message was transmitted, his thoughts churning with unease. The fate of the Dominion, perhaps even the fate of the galaxy, might hinge on the next few hours, on the choices they made, on the true nature of the species that called themselves humans. On board the Icarus, Eva Rostova read the Krill response with a grim satisfaction. Exploration. A convenient excuse, but one she had anticipated. "They're playing coy," Jamal observed, his fingers flying across his console. "Claiming to be on a mission of exploration and expressing curiosity about our technology. Standard diplomatic boilerplate." "Indeed," Eva replied, "but it buys us time. Time to analyze their fleet movements, time to decipher their encryption, time to prepare for whatever comes next." She turned to face the main view screen, staring out at the vast expanse of space. The Krill ships hung in the distance, like silent, predatory insects poised to strike. They were powerful, yes, but they were also predictable. Bound by their rigid hierarchy, their reliance on strategic calculation. They underestimated the chaotic, unpredictable nature of humanity, a nature forged in the crucible of conflict, tempered by the relentless pursuit of knowledge. "Prepare for Scenario 3, Eva ordered. "And remind me to send a commendation to the Archives Department when this is over. Their research on the Krill Dominion proved surprisingly accurate." Scenario 3. A contingency plan developed for the eventuality of encountering a hostile force with superior technology. A plan that relied on deception, improvisation, and the willingness to sacrifice everything for the survival of humanity. The Krill Dominion had come to the edge of the galaxy seeking answers. They were about to find them. But the answers they found would shatter their preconceptions and plunge the galaxy into a new era of conflict. An era defined by the unpredictable, indomitable spirit of humanity. Days turned into weeks, weeks into months. The standoff between the Icarus and the Krill fleet continued, a tense dance of diplomacy and veiled threats. Eva Rostova engaged in countless hours of negotiations with the Krill High Chancellor, each conversation a carefully orchestrated game of strategy. She revealed just enough to pique their curiosity, to lull them into a false sense of security, while subtly probing their weaknesses. The Krill, for their part, remained wary. They dispatched scout ships to monitor human space, their sensor probes diligently cataloging every asteroid base, every orbital station, every colony world. They sought to understand the source of human resilience, the key to their unexpected technological advancements. What they found was perplexing. Human society was a chaotic tapestry of conflicting ideologies, economic disparities, and political rivalries. They lacked the rigid unity of the Krill Dominion, the unwavering obedience to a central authority. Yet somehow they managed to function, to innovate, to thrive. Grand Artificer Xyler dedicated his every waking moment to deciphering human technology. He dissected captured data packets, analyzed energy signatures, and ran countless simulations. The more he learned, the more confused he became. Human engineering was messy, inefficient, illogical, yet it worked. They achieved remarkable results with what appeared to be crude, antiquated methods. "They're warp drives," he reported to the High Chancellor. "They utilize a variation of the Alcubierre drive, but their implementation is unrefined. They generate massive amounts of energy, yet waste a significant portion of it. Their shielding technology is equally baffling. It is based on principles of quantum entanglement, but their understanding of the underlying physics is incomplete. The High Chancellor listened patiently, his thoughts swirling with unease. The humans were an anomaly, a species that defied categorization. Their strengths and weaknesses were intertwined, their potential both terrifying and exhilarating. Perhaps, he mused, their strength lies in their imperfection, their willingness to experiment, to take risks, to embrace the unexpected. We, in our pursuit of order and control, have become rigid, predictable. We have forgotten the value of chaos. He ordered Xyler to continue his analysis, but with a new directive. Instead of focusing on the flaws in human technology, he should focus on the innovations, the unexpected solutions they had devised to overcome their limitations. Meanwhile, Grand Strategist Ryla grew increasingly impatient. The diplomatic dance with the humans was a waste of time, she argued. They should strike now, while they still held the advantage. Crush the human colonies, seize their resources, and integrate them into the Dominion. They are a threat, she insisted. A chaotic, unpredictable threat. They will destabilize the galaxy if left unchecked. We must eliminate them before they become too powerful. The High Chancellor refused. He saw something in the humans that Ryla did not. A spark of potential, a capacity for both creation and destruction. He believed that they could be allies if approached with caution and respect, but he also knew that they could be formidable enemies. The stalemate continued, the tension ratcheting higher with each passing day. Then one day, everything changed. Aboard the Icarus, Lieutenant Commander Jamal burst into the bridge, his face pale with shock. "Captain," he stammered, "we've intercepted a Krill transmission. It's not encrypted, it's a distress signal." Eva Rostova stared at him in disbelief. A Krill distress signal? Unthinkable. The Krill Dominion did not broadcast weakness. "Play it," she ordered. The bridge fell silent as the transmission crackled through the speakers. A garbled, distorted voice, barely audible above the static, spoke in the Krill language. "Attack unknown. Vessel beyond the galactic rim. Impossible technology. Request assistance." The transmission cut off abruptly. Eva exchanged a look with Jamal. An unknown vessel. Beyond the galactic rim? What could possibly threaten the Krill Dominion? "Run a full sensor sweep," she commanded. "Scan for any unusual energy signatures, any signs of conflict." The results came back moments later. A massive energy spike, originating from a point far beyond the known boundaries of the galaxy. An energy signature unlike anything they had ever encountered. It's off the charts, Captain," Jamal said, his voice trembling. "We've never seen anything like this before." Eva Rostova felt a chill run down her spine. The Krill Dominion, the undisputed masters of their corner of the galaxy, were begging for help. And the source of their distress, it was something beyond comprehension. "Prepare for warp," she ordered. "We're going to investigate." Back in the Grand Conclave chamber, chaos reigned. The High Chancellor struggled to maintain order as reports flooded in from the stricken Krill fleet. A vessel of unknown origin had emerged from the void beyond the galactic rim, unleashing a wave of devastating energy that crippled their warships and annihilated entire squadrons. "Their technology, it defies explanation," Grand Artificer Xyler reported, his voice filled with panic. "They manipulate space-time with ease, their weapons fire energy that bends the laws of physics. We are defenseless against them." Grand Strategist Ryla, her face contorted with rage and fear, demanded immediate retaliation. They must mobilize the entire Dominion fleet, she argued, and crush this unknown enemy before it could threaten their core worlds. The High Chancellor hesitated. A full-scale assault would be costly, and there was no guarantee of success. They knew nothing about this enemy, their motives, their capabilities. Then a message arrived from the human vessel Icarus. "Captain Rostova requests permission to assist," the message read. "We have detected the distress signal and are prepared to offer our support." A collective gasp echoed through the conclave. The humans, offering their assistance, after decades of distrust and veiled hostility. Ryla scoffed. "They are mocking us," she said. "This is a trap. They seek to exploit our weakness and seize control of the galaxy." The High Chancellor considered the possibilities. It could be a trap, yes, but it could also be an opportunity. An opportunity to forge an alliance with a species that possessed unexpected strengths, a species that might be the key to their survival. Grant them permission, he ordered, but proceed with caution and prepare for any eventuality. Aboard the Icarus, Eva Rostova received the High Chancellor's response with a sense of grim satisfaction. The Krill had accepted their offer. Now, the real game could begin. Helm set course for the distress signal, she ordered. Maximum warp and prepare for combat, we're heading into the unknown. As the Icarus plunged into warp, Eva Rostova couldn't shake the feeling that they were stepping into something far bigger than themselves. Something ancient, something powerful, something that threatened to unravel the very fabric of reality. They had found humanity at the galaxy's edge, and the revelation was about to turn the heavens to ash. The Icarus emerged from warp into a scene of utter devastation. Wreckage of Krill warships drifted in the void, their hulls breached, their energy cores extinguished. The air was thick with ionized particles and the stench of burning metal. "Report," Eva commanded, her voice tight. "Multiple contacts, Captain," Jamal reported. "One primary vessel designated unknown. It's massive, larger than anything we've ever encountered. Its energy signature, it's fluctuating wildly. It's like nothing we've ever seen." Eva Rostova stared at the main view screen, her breath catching in her throat. The unknown vessel was a monstrosity, a grotesque parody of a starship. Its hull was a chaotic mass of twisted metal and pulsating energy conduits, its surface covered in writhing tendrils of light. It radiated an aura of immense power, a palpable sense of wrongness. "That's what crippled the Krill fleet," she whispered. "Impossible." Then the unknown vessel turned its attention to the Icarus. A beam of pure energy lanced out, striking the human vessel's shields. The Icarus shuddered violently as its energy reserves plummeted. "Shields down to 40%, Jamal reported, his voice strained. "We're taking heavy damage." Eva Rostova knew that they couldn't withstand another attack like that. The Icarus was outmatched, outgunned, outclassed. They were facing something beyond their comprehension. "Evasive maneuvers," she ordered. "Divert all power to shields and prepare to return fire." The Icarus danced through the debris field, dodging energy blasts and maneuvering to bring its weapons to bear. The human vessel's railguns roared, firing volleys of depleted uranium projectiles at the unknown vessel. The projectiles struck the enemy's hull, creating small explosions of light, but they had little effect. The unknown vessel retaliated with another blast of energy, crippling the Icarus's warp drive. "Warp drive offline, Captain," Jamal reported. "We're stranded." Eva Rostova felt a surge of despair. They were trapped, alone, facing an enemy they couldn't defeat, but she refused to give up. "Activate the Nova Cannon," she ordered. "Prepare for a full-power discharge." The Nova Cannon was a last resort weapon, a desperate gamble. It focused all of the Icarus's energy into a single, devastating blast. It could cripple even the most heavily armored warship, but it also left the Icarus vulnerable. "Captain, are you sure about this?" Jamal asked, his voice filled with concern. "The Nova Cannon will drain our shields. We'll be defenseless." "I know," Eva replied, "but we have no other choice. It's our only chance." She watched as the Nova Cannon charged, its energy output climbing exponentially. The Icarus trembled under the strain, its systems pushed to their limits. Then the Nova Cannon fired. A beam of pure energy erupted from the Icarus, striking the unknown vessel with the force of a supernova. The enemy vessel shuddered violently, its energy conduits flickering and sputtering. For a moment, it seemed as if the attack had worked. Then the unknown vessel unleashed another wave of energy, even more powerful than before. The energy washed over the Icarus, tearing through its weakened shields and ripping apart its hull. "We're losing life support," Jamal reported, his voice fading. "The ship is breaking apart." Eva Rostova closed her eyes, bracing for the end. They had fought bravely, but they had been outmatched. Humanity had reached the edge of the galaxy, only to be annihilated by something beyond its comprehension. But then something unexpected happened. The unknown vessel stopped firing. Its energy conduits dimmed, its movements slowed, it seemed confused. Then a message appeared on the Icarus's main view screen. A message in perfect human English. "What are you?" the message read. Eva Rostova stared at the message in disbelief. The unknown vessel was communicating with them, and in their own language. "We are humans," she replied, her voice trembling. "We are from Earth." The unknown vessel remained silent for a moment. Then another message appeared. Earth, that name, it is familiar. Eva Rostova felt a surge of hope. Perhaps, just perhaps, they weren't facing an enemy after all. Perhaps they were facing something else. Who are you? She asked. What are you? The unknown vessel hesitated. Then it sent a final message. We are the remnants. We are the last survivors of a civilization that existed before time began. We have been waiting for you. The Icarus limped back to Krill's space, its hull scarred, its systems damaged, but its crew alive. Eva Rostova carried with her a story that would change the course of galactic history. A story of ancient civilizations, cosmic threats, and the unexpected role of humanity in the grand scheme of the universe. Back in the Grand Conclave Chamber, the High Chancellor listened to Eva Rostova's report with a mixture of awe and trepidation. The Remnants, a civilization that predated the Krill Dominion, that predated even the oldest known species in the galaxy. A civilization that possessed technology beyond comprehension. They claim to have been waiting for us, Eva Rostova said, but I don't know why they wouldn't say they just vanished. The High Chancellor pondered her words. The Remnants, what were they, what did they want, and why were they interested in humanity? Grand Strategist Ryla, still seething with anger and frustration, demanded immediate action. They must track down the Remnants, she argued, and eliminate them before they could pose a threat to the Dominion. The High Chancellor shook his head. No, he said, we will not attack them, we will try to understand them, we will try to learn from them. He turned to face Eva Rostova. You have proven your worth, Captain, he said. You have shown courage, ingenuity, and compassion. You have earned our respect. He paused, his gaze sweeping across the assembled Krill. We must forge an alliance with humanity, he declared. We must work together to face the challenges that lie ahead. The fate of the galaxy depends on it. A murmur rippled through the conclave. An alliance with humanity? Unthinkable. But the High Chancellor's words carried the weight of centuries, the wisdom of a leader who had guided the Dominion through countless crises. The alliance was forged slowly, cautiously. Humans and Krill, two species so different, yet united by a common goal, to understand the Remnants and to prepare for whatever threat they might pose. They launched joint expeditions to the fringes of the galaxy, searching for any trace of the Remnants. They analyzed ancient texts, deciphered cryptic messages, and explored long-abandoned ruins. What they found was unsettling. The Remnants had been a species of immense power, capable of manipulating the very fabric of reality. They had built vast empires, conquered countless worlds, and mastered technologies that defied imagination. But they had also been plagued by internal conflicts, by ideological divisions, by a relentless pursuit of power that ultimately led to their downfall. They had vanished without a trace, leaving behind only fragments of their once great civilization. But their legacy lived on, in the form of dormant technologies, cryptic messages, and a lingering sense of unease. Then one day they found something truly extraordinary, a massive megastructure hidden deep within a nebula, its purpose unknown. It was a construct of unimaginable scale, a testament to the Remnants' power and ambition. As they explored the megastructure, they discovered a vast library filled with countless data storage devices. They began to decipher the data, piecing together the story of the Remnants' rise and fall. What they learned was terrifying. The Remnants had not simply vanished, they had been destroyed by something far more powerful than themselves. A cosmic entity, a being of pure energy that consumed entire galaxies. An entity that the Remnants had awakened, inadvertently, through their reckless experimentation with space-time. The entity was still out there, lurking in the darkness between galaxies, waiting to devour everything in its path, and it was heading towards the Milky Way. The humans and the Krill knew that they had to act. They had to warn the other species of the galaxy, to unite them against this cosmic threat. But they also knew that it might not be enough. The entity was too powerful, too vast, too ancient. They were facing extinction, but they refused to give up. They would fight to the end for the survival of their species, for the survival of the galaxy. They had found humanity at the galaxy's edge, and the revelation had turned the heavens to ash. But from those ashes, a new hope would arise. A hope forged in the crucible of conflict, tempered by the indomitable spirit of humanity and strengthened by the alliance between two unlikely allies. The humans and the Krill would stand together, against the darkness until the very end. Centuries passed. The alliance between humans and krill deepened, evolving into a true partnership. They shared technology, knowledge, and culture, enriching each other in ways they could never have imagined. They had warned the other species of the galaxy about the cosmic entity, and many had heeded their warning. A grand coalition was formed, uniting countless civilizations against the common threat. They prepared for the inevitable confrontation, building massive fleets, developing new weapons, and training their warriors. They knew that the odds were stacked against them, but they refused to surrender. Then the entity arrived, a wave of pure energy engulfing entire star systems, consuming everything in its path. The Grand Coalition fought bravely, but they were no match for the entity's power. Their fleets were decimated, their planets destroyed, their civilizations extinguished. The galaxy was on the brink of annihilation. Then the humans and the krill revealed their final gambit, a secret weapon developed in the depths of the remnant megastructure, a device that could manipulate space-time, creating a wormhole to another universe. They would use the device to lure the entity into the wormhole, trapping it in another dimension, saving the Milky Way from destruction. But the device was unstable. It could only be used once, and there was no guarantee that it would work. Eva Rostova's descendant, Captain Anya Rostova, volunteered to pilot the ship that would carry the device. She knew that it was a suicide mission, but she was willing to sacrifice herself for the sake of humanity and the galaxy. The ship approached the entity, its shields straining, its systems failing. Anya Rostova activated the device. A wormhole opened, a swirling vortex of energy, sucking everything around it into its depths. The entity hesitated, sensing the danger. Then Anya Rostova fired the ship's weapons, provoking the entity into attacking. The entity unleashed a wave of energy, engulfing the ship. The ship plunged into the wormhole, carrying the entity with it. The wormhole collapsed, sealing the entity in another dimension. The Milky Way was saved. But Anya Rostova was gone. Her sacrifice would never be forgotten. She had become a legend, a symbol of hope, a testament to the courage and selflessness of humanity. The galaxy mourned its losses, but it also celebrated its survival. The Grand Coalition began to rebuild, to heal, to learn from its mistakes. The alliance between humans and krill became stronger than ever. They worked together to promote peace, justice, and understanding throughout the galaxy. They had found humanity at the galaxy's edge, and the revelation had turned the heavens to ash. But from those ashes, a new era of peace and prosperity had arisen. An era defined by the courage, ingenuity, and compassion of humanity, and by the enduring alliance between two unlikely allies. The galaxy would never forget the day that humanity arrived at its edge, for it was on that day that the heavens were turned to ash and a new future was forged. A future of hope, unity, and the unwavering belief in the power of the human spirit.